who is excited about this craft today? We are really going to dive into print and cut, how we can take designs that are on the Makers Gonna Learn website and manipulate them and make them what we want them to be. So I'm super, super excited for that. And plus, this is such a cute and fun idea to do with your littles, whether you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, any littles in your life. This is an amazing something to do with them. We'll go ahead and go overhead. So if you all haven't seen it up close, this is the magical reindeer food. And you can see in here we do have, this is just some granola that I've put with some glitter, because who doesn't like glitter?
It's so cute.
I know.
I love it so much.
It's such a fun thing to do. And plus, what you do on the back, you kind of give your, tell them what to do. So sprinkle on the lawn at night. The moon will make it sparkle bright. That's why we have the glitter in here. As Santa's reindeer fly and roam, this will guide them to your home.
That is adorable.
I mean, is it not the cutest? So cute. Yeah, this glitter personally, it's not like super, super noticeable, but I really feel like it would give it. But then I also got to thinking like, well, if I do red and green glitter, like it's not gonna show up on green grass. So I mean, you can really use whatever kind of glitter you want. Cynthia says, just tuned in, no idea what we're making. We are making magical reindeer food today. We're really gonna be teaching this print and cut, how we use print and cut, how to take different files, manipulate them, and make them your own. So this is what we are going to be making today. What we are going to be making, let's talk about the, what am I trying to say? Supplies. That's it. The supplies you're going to need. Now, I don't have on the table cardstock, but y'all, I just use 8.5 by 11 cardstock for this. You can use I would probably use a little more than a 60-pound weight. I would probably use no less than 180, or 180. I would use no less than 80. This one, I would say is an 80. The one that I have in the printer right now is a 120. So I would use something a little thicker than 60 pound. I would probably use an 80 to a 120. I can't remember what I have linked down below, but I would definitely use a thicker cardstock. So that is the first thing that you have to have is some type of white cardstock. Like I said, you can get that Walmart, Amazon, wherever. We are going to be using our inkjet printer today. The one that we like the most is the Canon TS9250, I think is the one that we have linked. That's our favorite. We love all Canon printers. So really, it doesn't have to be a Canon, whatever inkjet printer you have, okay? Now, the next thing that you're gonna need are cellophane bags. I have cellophane bags linked below, the exact ones that we bought. Y'all, I can't find them in the studio right now. So you wanna know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it be a true crafter. I think like some of my diamond dots things came in this bag. I found it in my drawer. This is not gonna be edible because we're putting glitter in it, so I'm just gonna use this and we're gonna fold it over and it's gonna be covered. This little barcode's gonna be covered, so it's no big deal. I wanted to really, like the cellophane bags, they're easy to use. They have the pre-sticky thing, but if you don't have this, we're gonna show you how to use just something that you found, like a reusable bag, if you wanna just do this for like a little gift for somebody. Now, if I was selling them, I clearly would not use this. If you are wanting to sell this craft, definitely purchase those cellophane bags that has the peeled off sticky part. But you all know we're true crafters here and we are resourceful. We use what we can find. So anyway, the next thing that we are going to use is going to be glitter. Now, I highly suggest using chunky glitter for this. This is going to show up the most. I just grabbed 3 of some of the chunkiest glitters that we have that I thought would be super cute. I'm pretty sure I actually used all 3 in this, just a little bit of all. So we just whatever kind of glitter. Our favorite is the Starcraft glitter. We love using it. They have such a good collection on the 143 website. However, I know some of our friends that are not in the US can't get 143. So really and truly, y'all, just use whatever chunky glitter you have, okay? Then you're also going to need some type of adhesive. Now, you know us around here, we love using the Scotch ATG gun. Once again, it can be a little bit expensive. If you don't have a Scotch ATG gun, double-sided tape is gonna be your best friend for this. Especially with like this one, y'all, I said that I was just reusing this bag, so I don't have the sticky part of this bag anymore. Well, it's a little sticky. I could stick it back down, but what you would do is just use double-sided tape on the bottom and fold that just like that. And I'll show you when we get there. Now, somebody did ask, can you use a small Ziploc bag? You absolutely can. But if you use a small Ziploc bag, I'm gonna show you, no matter what type of bag you use, I'm gonna show you how you're going to measure the bag, the cellophane bag, plastic wrap, whatever you choose to use. I'm gonna show you how to measure that so that when you go to create your print and cut design to go on the top, it will cover the whole thing, okay? So stick with us. I'll teach you exactly how to do that. Now, back overhead, I'm just using some old granola that I had here at the office. You can use oats, you can use whatever you want. But I wouldn't go out and buy a thing of granola. I'm sure if we look in our pantry, you will find either some old granola, some old oats, something like that. It doesn't need to be anything. You don't need to just go out and buy it. Like I said, this is just what we're using today. And then of course we do have a standard grip or a light grip mat that we will use for our print and cut feature when we are sending it to our Cricut. Now, let's go ahead and go to Cricut Design Space real quick, and I'm going to show you what we're gonna be making. So, Stan also said I've used birdseed for it too instead of oats and granola. That's a great thing to do, just use birdseed. You wouldn't even really have to put like sparkles in it if you didn't want to. If you are concerned about the environment, you could do edible. There's a lot of different things you could do. I don't think that critters are gonna be able to find the glitter to eat it personally, but who knows? You never know. That's gonna be totally up to you what you want to do. Okay. So now back in Design Space, I'm gonna change our canvas color to a light gray so that we can really see what we're working with here. So this is going to be our end goal for everything, but I'm gonna show you how we are going to get to the end goal. Now, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unflatten this design, okay? Bev said we've used dehydrated carrot pieces. That is an amazing idea. That way you can just toss those out in the yard. That's a great idea. Now we're gonna unflatten this too because I'm going to show you all of the different parts that we're gonna use because it looks like it's not too hard, but we are using, there's a lot of different moving parts for this project, okay? So, the first thing we're gonna be using, we're gonna go to our website and we're gonna go to Cut Files. And let me exit off of all of these. These tabs are still open from Amazon, from our Prime Day deals. And let me see if I can, beautiful. Okay, so now we're here. And we're gonna search our cut files. So the one that we're using is called Old Fashioned Sleigh Ride. And see if we can find it. It's been so long since, oh, beautiful, there it is. I was about to say, it's been so long since I've done this, since I've created this, that I almost didn't remember. So, old-fashioned sleigh rods. That's what we're using for our border. If you noticed, back in Design Space, we used it for this magical portion, and we used a little Santa and the reindeer on this side, okay? So that is the one cut file that we're gonna be using, is the old-fashioned sleigh rods. You can find that in the cut file section. Now the other portions we're gonna be using are going to all be fonts. So the first one is going to be Lucy. That's gonna be our script font that we're gonna be working with. To download the fonts, you're gonna click this arrow pointing down. It's gonna come up here. You're gonna open that up, double click it. From there, you're going to double click it again and install it into either your font book or your character map, depending on if you use Mac or Windows. Now we're gonna go back to Design Space. So from here, the next font, if I can remember correctly, it's this one, but do I remember the name of it? You know what? No, but we're gonna teach you a little trick for in case you forget
Hack time.
Forget the name. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click, down to image info, and it shows you the selected font name. So we're gonna be using, this one is Giddy Up. So back to our website, Giddy Up. And I'm pretty sure we already had this one downloaded. So you would download that one the exact same. And then the last one is a Christmas font, this one here, and I forget the name of it, Century. So Lucy, Giddy Up, and Century are the 3 fonts that we are gonna be using today. So let's just go ahead and grab those in a text. Oh, one thing we do have to do before I forget. If you download a new font into Cricut Design Space, you have to go back and reload, or you cannot find it. For example, I know that Lucy is not on this computer, so when we go to Systems and we type in Lucy, it's not there, it's just the stencil. So what we have to do is we have to go to View, Reload. If you are working on something, make sure that you save it. So I'll just go ahead and save this. It's going to reload. Once it reloads, you are then going to be able to go back, and that font is going to be there. So you can see Lucy here was not saved. It was not in our fonts. So it's gonna be all wonky here. But now that we go back to let's go to this text, go to oh, I don't need that. Go to this, go to our fonts, system. We're gonna type in Lucy. And now you can see we do have the Lucy font. So real quick, I'm just gonna change this back to this light gray so we know what we're working with. Let's detach, if I can speak, all of this. And then I'm just gonna get rid of, actually let's change this back to Lucy. Beautiful, look at that. Beautiful, okay. So we have Lucy. I'm just gonna zoom in. This is the one we're gonna be working with. I've got Lucy here. And then we needed Giddy Up is the next one. It's gonna be, I'm gonna leave this here. And then the last one was Century, so I'm gonna add another text and change this one to Century. Now, this is not something you all have to do. I'm just keeping these all here so that I don't forget which ones we're working with, okay? So now that we have that here, what I'm then going to do is I'm going to upload the old-fashioned sleigh ride file. So I'm going to go to upload image, and I'm actually going to tab back to the website because I did not double click this, and I did not open it up. So I have to unzip it, okay? Also, okay. So, just kidding. I was looking at y'all's comments. So sorry. So now I'm going to go to browse. I'm going to go to my recent downloads, old fashioned sleigh rides. I want this as an SVG first. And the reason that I want it as an SVG first is because I'm going to manipulate different layers of this SVG. So if you upload it as a PNG, you can't manipulate it as well. So I am going to upload this as an SVG, okay? So SVG, upload. Here it is. I'm going to add that to Canvas. It's going to pop in here, and you can see all of these are different font, or all of these are different parts. So what we're going to be able to do, if Design Space will work with me, we're going to be able to come in here and we can ungroup this. Or we can actually just get rid of the different portions that we don't want, okay? So let's say this one, I want to drag it out over here because I want to work with it separate. Old fashioned, I just want it gone. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select all of these, delete, select, Shift key, delete. And then I want to get rid of sleigh rides as well, okay? So this, delete, delete, delete. Now, if you can't delete something, so this was all separate. If you can't delete it, you can contour, okay? Just so you know, if you can't delete, you can contour. This file specifically, we could delete, okay? So I'm just gonna make sure that this is ungrouped here so that this does not pull in here. Now, next thing you are gonna wanna do, let's go overhead and let's measure our bag. So this is going to be key no matter what bag you are using. So if you are using the cellophane bags that we have linked down below, if you want to use a Ziploc bag, whatever you decide to use, this is going to be a very important step in this crafting journey, okay? So first thing you need to do is you need to measure. So we know that this specific bag is going to be about 4 3/4 inches across, and that's going to be the biggest portion you need to measure. You need to know that it is 4 3/4 across. Now, if I wanted to fold this down and make sure all of this is covered, we also know that based on where the bottom of this is, it needs to be no less than 2 inches tall. I would feel more comfortable going a little bit taller because as you can see here, your bag doesn't have to come all the way to the top of you see how I can stick my finger down in here? The bag stops at the very bottom. The bag doesn't need to come all the way up to the crease, just as long as it's secured at the bottom of this. So you want to measure, I would say at least a 1/2 inch, maybe even an inch taller than where your bag stops after you have folded it down. So we're working with 4 3/4 by 3 inches rectangle. Okay, so let's go back to Design Space. We're going to grab our shape. From there, we're gonna get a square. I'm gonna pull this over here. I'm gonna unlock this square. Our width was 4 3/4. You can make it actually bigger than the bag if you want to. So we just go ahead and make it 5 by, let's try 3 and see what it looks like. I think that's pretty good. So we're working with 5 by 3. Let's see what 3.5 looks like. I feel like that's a little much. I think I'm just gonna go 5. Excuse me.
How rude.
I know, so rude. We're gonna make sure it's unlocked again, and I'm gonna go 5 by 3. I think that's what I want. Beautiful. So now I'm just gonna change this to white because that is going to be the color of the paper that we are printing this on. Okay, love that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both of these elements. So let's pull our square out of the way. I'm going to grab all of these elements here. I'm going to bring them to front. While they are still selected, I'm going to, well, they're not selected now. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's a wild day today. Okay, while these are all selected, let's actually just go ahead and group them back together because I moved my sleigh right over here. So we're going to group those back together, and I'm just going to size this down to fit in this square. Now, once again, I think I'm going to unlock this one and just stretch it to fit in our rectangle, and we'll zoom in so you guys can see it. Okay, so we have unlocked this and sized it to fit our rectangle. So next thing you're going to want to do, now there's a couple ways we can do this. I'm probably just going to duplicate it and put it over here to the side and design it together, and then you're going to have to flip it. What we're going to do now, I'm going to select both layers. So we have the group, the red or the green thing in this, and I'm going to duplicate that and pull it over here. Okay, so we have duplicated it. Now for this second one, I'm going to be getting rid of these, like the little elements here, because I want the magical reindeer food on this side, and the little directions are going to go on the back. Okay, so next thing that I want to make sure you guys know how to do, on our original one, go back overhead, we have red and green here. If you wanted to change the color, you can. If you want to leave it the same, you don't have to change the color. But let's go back to Design Space. To change the color, all you have to do is select which line you want and then come up here to the colors. Boom. Same thing with this one. I want the center square to be red. Beautiful. Love it. Good to go. Okay, so we're going to start out by designing the front half of this, and that's going to be the magical reindeer food portion. So I'm going to grab the first text we're using is going to be the giddy up text. Let's bring it to front. It's going to go within this little box here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in magical. And there are a couple different ways that you can do this. So I really like having the letters spaced out. So what I'm going to do is you can go to, there's a couple things you can do. We can go to letter spacing here, and you can increase your letter spacing as much as you want, and it's going to space it all equally apart. And I actually want to leave it that size, but one other thing you can do is, I want this little design to be a little further apart so it's not so close to the word, because I want the word to still be legible. You can see it, it's big. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to our layers panel, okay? We're going to start with the bottom of this element, and I'm just going to use my keyboard, and I'm just going to tap down a couple times. Then we're going to go to the top one, and I'm going to go up. I think I went 4, I hit the down arrow 4 times, so I'm going to hit the up arrow 4 times as well. Beautiful. Now, if we're being honest, I can't believe I just did that. Okay. I actually want to move this down some because I think it's a little close to our red line. So with it still grouped, I'm going to select all of these layers on the layers panel. Also, by the way, if you all are not working from the layers panel, I don't know, it's so much easier to work from the layers panel. So I have magical selected up here and the elements around it, and I'm just gonna, once again, using my arrow key, I'm just gonna move it down a couple times. And I just feel like it makes it look so much better that way. I'm also going to increase the size of this circle a little bit. Oh, not that much. Whoa. That's better. So it's at 0.1. We'll move that up, and then same thing with this one. We're just gonna move it up to 0.1. And then with it selected, I'm just gonna bump it up 1. So that is not something you have to do, guys. That is just something that I'm very picky about, things like that. So just know that working from this layers panel, even in groups, you can move stuff around, arrange things. So I'm gonna change the color of magical to red because I want it to all be cohesive. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring in our Lucy font. This is why I love having the fonts pre-selected over here. So grabbing the Lucy font, I'm going to arrange, bring it to front, pull it in here. Now I know I'm gonna use the Lucy font again on this side. So before I start typing what I want, I'm just gonna duplicate that text and we'll bring it over here because I know I need it there. And I'm just gonna type in reindeer food. Also, I feel like somebody said a while ago that reindeer was spelled wrong.
Yes.
But I think that's how you spell it, R-E-I-N-D-E-R.
It looks right to me.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll double check, but
double
it looks
check
right.
me. So we're just gonna type in reindeer food.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, perfect. And then we're just going to size it however large you want it. Now, if you want it to be 2 separate lines, you can, but for this, it's beautiful. And then once again, I'm just going to grab that and I'm gonna change that color back, or I'm gonna change it to red, just so it all looks really, really good together. And it's honestly a little bit further up than I would like. Beautiful. That's where I want it to be. So now we're gonna start working on our second portion of our little sign. So this is gonna be the directions. So once again, arrange, we're gonna bring it to front. We're gonna size this down just a little bit, and this is something that we can add in and move around later. So now you're going to add your text. Whether you want it to say, you can make this say literally whatever you want. You don't have to use the font that we're using. You can use whatever, okay? But we are using, or you don't have to use, you can come up with your own saying, I should say. Always, you all know, you can use whatever font you want. But anyway, so the saying that we're putting on there is, sprinkle on the lawn at night. And then we're gonna hit enter. The moon will make it. And then shine bright is going to be in a different font. Okay? No, it's right on the other one. Or, it's right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just sizing this down to where it fits on our card. Beautiful. And then I'm gonna duplicate that, bring it down here, because I wanna try to keep it the same size as possible, if I can. And we'll change that in a minute. We're gonna type, this one is gonna say shine bright. changing it to red, bringing it down, sizing it, okay? And then this will say, as Santa's reindeer fly and roam, this will guide them to your home! Exclamation point. So clearly we're gonna have to size all of this down a little bit more because it is not gonna fit if we don't.
She big.
She is. It's all good. Beautiful. So one thing that you all can do to make sure that everything is lined up, okay? Grabbing this, and another thing I want you to think about. I knew what I was gonna put on each line, but it may be easier if you are trying to design this. Let's say you're designing something completely different, because it did take me a few minutes to figure out where I wanted to stop, what I wanted on the next line. Is I typed in the first few words, saw how big it needed to be, and then kind of just went from there. Like when I got close to the end, I would hit enter. Does that make sense? So anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to select all of our text and our little reindeer thing, and we're gonna come up here to align, and I want to center them horizontally so that they're all in the middle and they all are spaced out equally. See how it just lined everything up beautifully? So now that that's there, they're all selected. I'm just gonna make sure that it is, we'll go, is this the group? Yes, okay, so I want this group and I want all of these selected. Once again, arrange or align, and we're gonna center them. Oh no.
Whoa.
I had the wrong thing selected. Oh, that's that text. Okay. this one, and not that one. Sleigh ride. Where? Shine bright. Okay. Nope. There we go. Shine bright. This guy, and this guy, and this guy. And we're gonna align and center horizontally. Beautiful.
Beautiful. So perfect.
Yes. Okay. So once we have done all of that, we've designed everything, you are going to select all of this and flatten, and then select this side and flatten. Okay? Are we on the same page? Are we good? Now, this is where it's going to get tricky, because you can't just, we need to bring these together. However, this is gonna have to be flipped vertically, because when you fold something together, it needs to be the same. So if we were, let's say, bringing this guy here and then this guy here, see what I'm saying? It has to fold. So we're selecting both of these, aligning, centering them horizontally, okay? Now you see how I have them overlap? Actually, they're not. Oh, they are. You see how I have them overlapping? This is for a reason, okay? So now that I have them aligned center, we're selecting both of them, and we are going to flatten them together. And now you can see it is all one layer here. All of this, let's go ahead, let's zoom out. I'm gonna get rid of this because we don't need it now. So now you see that this is all flattened together and it's all one layer, so it's gonna print the same way. However, we do still have to add a score line in the middle That way we can score across, when the Cricut cuts it, it can score this way and we can fold it. So that's one thing that I forgot in our materials is you are going to need a scoring stylus. You don't have to have a scoring stylus. It's just one straight line all the way across. So you don't have to have a scoring stylus, but it does help. So I'm just going to come up here to shapes. I'm going to grab a line. The width of our design is 5 inches. So I'm going to make the width of this 5 inches. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then we are going to select both of these, align, center. Boom.
Wow.
So easy. This is already at a score line. If you want to double check, you need to make sure it's a score line. Why is it upside down or? It is mirrored.
It is mirrored.
Why did it do that? I thought I just rotated it. I don't understand.
That's above my pay grade.
I don't want it that. I don't want it that. You know what we're gonna do? So this is separate. We're just gonna rotate it 180 degrees because that's what we need it to do. That's what we need, is I just needed it flipped, okay?
Perfect.
So we just needed it flipped upside down. We don't necessarily need it, and that's what I thought it did. I thought flipping it just flipped the whole thing vertically, but it changed the words and everything. So go back, X out what I said. We're rotating it 180. Yeah, no, it's fine. You're not being annoying. Thank you for calling me out. Listen, we call each other out here on the channel to call us up. That is, I love that you pointed out my mistake because I would have not caught it and I just needed to rotate it, okay? Now, same thing, we're just going to zoom in. We're going to make sure that they touch. It's okay if they're not completely even because we're going to select them. We're going to align them center horizontally, and then we're going to flatten them both back together, okay? Bringing this here, I'm going to bring it to the front so that we can see it. Selecting both, align, and center. Beautiful. Now, you are just going to now attach these two together so that when it cuts around and then scores through the middle. What does flatten do? Flatten turns anything that you are working on in Design Space into a print and cut image. So if it was let's say you are working with an SVG, you can change things around, change the colors, and then flatten it together, and it's going to turn it into a print and cut image, okay? Now, I'm a newbie, so I wasn't sure what you were going to do with the topper. Yeah, that was my fault. I thought I could just flip it, but it changed my text and everything. So you just need to rotate it so that it's upside down because like I said, go overhead. It needs to be upside down because say it prints this way and you're going to fold it and you want it to be right side when you're looking at the front and the correct side looking at the back. And so you're going to fold one side down. So one side has to be upside down. I feel like I just butchered that comparison. Like my words are not coming to me as well today. I don't know why. Anyway, so now that we have done all of that, we are now going to go to make it. After all of that, we're going to go to make it. I don't know if this is happening to you guys, but our Cricut is defaulting to 8.5 by 14. I guess we could go to our settings and change it. I'll figure that out in a minute. But we're just going to change it to 8.5 by 11 because that's the size printer we're using. Now, if you're wanting to print multiple of these at one time, I would highly suggest Cricut is going to turn it like this and tell you can only fit one on a page. Rotate that guy around and you can for sure fit 2 on a page. If not, no, you can't fit more, but you can fit 2 on a page for sure. Don't let Cricut tell you can only fit 1 because you can definitely fit 2. I'll show you exactly what I mean. See, Cricut's gonna tell you have to do it on 2 separate pages. No. We are flipping that around, taking this one, hitting those 3 dots, moving it to this canvas, and rotating it as well. Okay, maybe you can only fit 2 on this one. JK. I thought you could. Yes, we just want to go back to 1. Anyway, now we're gonna go to continue. We're gonna send this to our printer. I don't wanna add the bleed. I'm always gonna use system dialog. We're gonna hit print. It's gonna pull up behind Cricut Design Space. We are using the Epson 8100 series today, feeding it from the rear tray, putting it on best quality, and sending it to print. Is it printing, Sadie?
It is. It's taking its lovely time.
Thanks. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh my goodness, this is thick cardstock.
Yes. So this bad boy is thick.
It's a whole
Y'all can hear
poster
it.
board.
So one thing that if you are gonna use, this is, like I said, this is 120. This one specifically is gonna be closer to 80 pounds. If you use the 120 cardstock, we have to cut it on a craft board setting. Like the heavy cardstock just doesn't cut it with this. Christine says, or Barbara says, I'm so glad these things don't just happen to me. No, they don't. They happen to us all the time. And I know that you all love it when it happens to us. I know that you do. But can I just say, I don't love it when it happens to us because I get so nervous.
We're on camera.
I know. And it's like, you don't, it's human. We are all human. We all mess up. It is what happens.
Yes.
But it's still hard to want to be perfect. But I'm glad you all know and understand that we're not perfect. And I'm glad that you accept us as imperfect as we are. So, because this is such a thick cardstock, I am going to be cutting this on craft board setting. And I just realized that I didn't change the color of the text on the back to green like I wanted it to. So we're gonna overlook that, it's gray. Okay, so we're cutting it on craft board. If you're cutting the 80-pound cardstock, cut it on medium to heavy cardstock, whatever. If you're using a super thick cardstock, I love using craft board setting for it, okay? Oh no.
Oh no, what happened?
Scoring stylus, give me 2 seconds.
Oh my gosh, we can't forget the scoring stylus.
Grabbed it, got it. Okay, we are going to add our scoring stylus into clamp A. Make sure that's there. And then we are just going to load this into our Cricut. So, now that that is cut, I mean, do y'all see how thick. And if you are not unloading your cardstock like upside down,
What are you doing?
what are you doing? Like, I want to say this is so thick. I don't even know that it's scored the best. It's
Have to score it
okay.
like 10 times.
Oh no, it did. We got it. Okay. So I just like to fold this before I start adding and like assembling everything together, just to make sure it's right, and it is. It's beautiful. We love her. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do, I can't say I feel like anything because this is what a true crafter would do, is literally use what they have. So what I'm gonna do now is you're just going to add in your elements. So we're just going to, whether you use dehydrated carrots or oats or old granola, really old granola that smells very stale. I couldn't tell you how long this has been in there. I just finally bought me some new granola to put into my yogurts the other day. So We're just adding our reindeer food, our magical reindeer food in there, whatever it is you plan on doing. If you want to add your glitter or not, that's gonna be up to you. We're just going to add a little bit of that. We need some stars for the magical part. And a little bit of the, this one is gone coastal. A little bit of silver. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. So once you add that in, what I would then do is we're just going to fold the top over. Like I said, if you get the cellophane bags, they already have the strip that you pull off and fold over. I would do that. This one is not. Like I said earlier, we're trying to be resourceful because I could not find the cellophane bags that I ordered for this project. So I'm actually just gonna put ATG along the bottom right there, and I'm just going to fold that over to hold that down. Now we're going to add the ATG to the front and the back of this, so I know pretty much where it needs to go. So I'm doing ATG here, and then ATG on this side. Oh no, I'm out of ATG. I have just enough for this project, and that's literally it.
That's so sad. What is going on?
It's okay. It's all good. Look, I think I got some on that side. You know what? We're just gonna lay that whole thing down right there. It'll work.
Wow.
Now we're going to place our bag down there and then close the top.
Oh my goodness.
And voila!
She's so
done.
Cute. Can I
Look
just
how
say,
cute.
I would have loved this as a child.
I mean, I would have gone insane
Yes.
if anyone would have said, this is magical reindeer food. You need to throw it outside. I would have been like, let me go now. Let me go now. Because I'm still not convinced that Santa's not real.
Same, honestly.
I mean,
Santa just brings the best gifts ever. Every year.
Santa is magical. I just love everything about it. Okay, Holly says, how much would you sell these for? In all honesty, because this is just a very rinse and repeat project, I think it would be, for supplies and everything involved, I just go, a lot of times when I'm pricing my items, or if I were to price an item, I would go off of how much would I spend on this? I think I would easily hand somebody a $10 bill to bring a smile to my child's face on Christmas Eve.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with 10, I think 7. I think you could probably get by with 7, because you have to think of like how much. You only used a little tiny bit of glitter. You didn't use that much. You didn't use a lot of granola and a piece of paper and a cellophane bag. So like, I personally would probably start with 10. If you feel like they're not selling at 10, you can go down to 7. I think 7 is the actual lowest that I would take for these. But I think you're gonna have a lot of people that would gladly, like especially these craft fairs, like Christmas craft fairs, if you are one of these people that love making things and setting things up for Christmas craft fairs, this is a quick, easy, pick this up and go. 8 to 10 would be a really good price for these. You could probably do $8 for a single one, or like 2 for $15.
That would be a very good deal.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they give them a little bit of a discount. So that's probably where I would price them at. Because like I said, as a mom, I know that my mother as a grandmother would easily pay $10 for these. Dee said, but the ink, it's the ink for me. Yeah, it is going to take, it will take some ink, but the good part about it is certain inks can be expensive, but there's not a ton of ink on these. I mean, it is color ink. You don't have to make them as big. If I were selling these, I would probably after I went in, I would probably make them small enough that I could for sure fit 2 of these on 1 piece of paper. So let's just, if I were selling these and wanted to make the biggest profit, I would make sure that I would be able to fit 2 of these on 1 single piece of paper. That way you get more bang for your buck. So it's really the little things that are going to give you the best profit, the most turnaround. But these are something that I think, even if you don't sell them, they're great little gifts to give to like your grandkids, your kids in your neighborhood, nieces, nephews, like just a little something to make Christmas a little bit more magical.
Yes.
Yes.
So sweet.